A New Year's celebration in New Orleans turning into a deadly nightmare. A driver running down people in the city's famous French Quarter before opening fire.
And investigators are saying this was an act of terrorism.
Disturbing surveillance video showing the moment a white pickup turned onto Bourbon Street early Wednesday morning, moments before plowing into New Year's partygoers.
The bodies strewn, something you can't unsee, you'll never forget.
Then a horrifying glimpse into the chaos and carnage that followed. The driver, investigators say, intentionally hitting innocent revelers, then getting into a deadly shootout with police.
And I don't see my friend. And I just start screaming and yelling, and I'm like, nah, where are you? And I turn and I look in the street, and her right leg is flipped like horror movie style over her back.
15 people would be killed, 35 others injured, including 2 police officers.
It was pandemonium. It was obviously emergency vehicles everywhere.
I remember the screeching and him gunning the car and the impact and the screams. Like I said, the screams of those girls. I mean, yeah. I don't know that I'll be able to forget that.
Officials say the surveillance video shows 42-year-old Shamsud bin Jabbar driving a rented pickup truck past police vehicles and out-of-order street barricades. President Biden providing more details about the suspect's actions.
The FBI also reported to me that mere hours before the attack, he posted videos on social media indicating that he was inspired by ISIS, expressing a desire to kill.
The divorced father stayed in an Airbnb near the French Quarter before the attack. That location and his home in Houston now swarming with investigators. He talked about his background in a 2020 YouTube video that's now been pulled from the site.
So I'm born and raised in Beaumont, Texas, and now live in Houston. And I've been here all my life, with the exception of traveling for the military, where I spent 10 years as a human resources specialist.
From the U.S. military to being inspired by a terror group, according to the writings and other items the FBI says they found.
An ISIS flag was located on the trailer hitch of the vehicle, and the FBI is working to determine the subject's potential associations and affiliations with terrorist organizations.
The FBI does not believe Jabbar acted alone, and now they're looking for a range of other potential suspects.
For those who may have played a role in this horrific act of cowardice, we will find you.
Now, the security of future events in New Orleans, like today's Sugar Bowl football game, the upcoming Super Bowl next month, and Mardi Gras in March, is in question.
We are looking at security measures that are needed to make sure that anyone going to the Sugar Bowl is going to be safe and that it'll be a safe event.
City officials say barriers called bollards were removed from Bourbon Street before yesterday's attack because they were malfunctioning. Police say they were using patrol cars as blockades instead.
Team coverage on the attack continues now, live in New Orleans with Lee Waldman. Lee, good morning. What are we learning about the victims?
Ethan, Lorena, good to be with you this morning. I do want to come to you with some information that's brand new this morning before we get to those victims. We're being told from a city official that Bourbon Street, the street right behind us where this crime scene happened, or where this crime rather happened, this is now officially cleared as a crime scene from the FBI this morning. Now let's get to those victims. We know at least 15 people were killed in this attack in the early hours of New Year's. What we know about them coming from their families this morning, we know that Reggie Hunter of Baton Rouge was a loving father of 2, known best for his sense of humor, according to one of the members of his family. Tiger Besh is a former Princeton football player who is living and working in New York City. Another of the 15 killed was a student at the University of Alabama. 35 other people were hurt in this attack. They are in different stages of injury. Some are in the hospital this morning. We know that 2 law enforcement officers were injured in gunfire when they engaged with that suspect after he got out of his vehicle. Those officers are expected to be okay.
And Lee, I know officials are doing everything they can to make sure nothing else happens there in the city of New Orleans. The Sugar Bowl being delayed, a big part of that. What else can you tell us about that delay?
Yeah, we also have some new information on that for you all this morning. So we're hearing from the police superintendent, who says that people here in New Orleans can expect to see hundreds of law enforcement officers throughout the city today. A city council member is saying that in order to bolster security, it's going to cost the city a lot of money in order to bolster security. But in terms of the Sugar Bowl today, they expect hundreds of law enforcement officers throughout the course of the city. Now, for that game, they can also expect to see canine teams working. Those canine teams are trained to detect explosives. That's all to ensure to make today as safe as it can be for everyone who's there, but also to make sure that people have a sense of safety overall so that they can be there, can actually enjoy the game, and maybe breathe a sigh of relief, because where that game is being played is less than a mile away from where this attack actually happened.
All right, Lee Waldman reporting from New Orleans this morning. Lee, thanks.